So the light has come into the world, and the mystery of Christmas continues to unfold. So 10 days ago, we welcomed the birth of Jesus in Bethlehem, and today, the final characters arrive on the scene. Like a tapestry through these 12 days of Christmas, we weave together the stories of Jesus' birth from the Gospels of Luke and Matthew. And so from the Gospel of Matthew this morning, the wise sages from the East come seeking to pay homage to the baby that has been born both King and Messiah. And the news of this royal birth comes to the Magi just as it does to the shepherds in the fields. This news arrives as a heavenly announcement. For the shepherds in Luke, it is heavenly angels. And for the Magi in Matthew, it is a star, the first sign that a new light has come into the world, a true light. So turning back for a moment to remember the story of the shepherds, the angel proclaims to the shepherds, "I am bringing you good news of great joy for all the people." For all the people. And so probably not in exactly that moment, because when there is a breaking through of heaven into earth in such a dramatic way, there is little time to pause and reflect. But I wonder, in the days that follow, as the shepherds travel to see the baby in Bethlehem, I wonder if they think about that word all. I am bringing you good news of great joy for all the people. When you've lived your life keeping the flocks, perhaps as your parents did before you and their parents before them, only ever traveling as far as one of your lost sheep ventures, or the 5 miles from Bethlehem to the temple in Jerusalem, when that is your whole world, then that's as big as all feels. Your whole world, what is familiar to you, is your all. So for the shepherds, that means the people that also make Bethlehem their home, and the people who also travel to Jerusalem for the holy days. And wow, if this good news, if the birth of the Savior and Messiah in Bethlehem is for all of these people, what good news, what great joy. And the shepherds share the news. The shepherds share the news with their whole world, on the fields and in the streets in Bethlehem, and with those they meet in and on their travels to Jerusalem. They share the good news with their whole world, with all the people. And the mystery of Christmas continues to unfold. The glorious impossible, that's one of the ways that Madeline Lingle thinks about this, the glorious impossible of the birth of Jesus continues to grow in glory and in impossibility. I am bringing you good news of great joy for all the people. And so today, far from the fields and streets in Bethlehem, and not at all familiar with the cadence of the holy days in Jerusalem, today the Magi from the East arrive, and the world of the shepherds expands, and the glory of God is amplified, and the impossibility of what it means for God to be with us, for God to be with all people and with all of creation, the impossibility of that grows. And the world of the Magi expands as well. These Magi who have traveled so many miles and across so many lands and cultures, the limits of their world are opened to even more boundless possibilities because of Jesus' birth. And there's also one other character to pay attention to today, a character that is not often, if ever, represented in these nativity scenes that we have in this space and maybe also in our homes. one more expanded horizon on which to reflect. I am bringing you good news of great joy for all the people. And we have King Herod. This news and this birth is for King Herod as well. But because of power and greed and arrogance and apathy, Herod does not receive this news well. This birth is not good for him. The angels and the star, Herod decides that the news from heaven is a threat. And yet, even for Herod, who worships the ways of the world and so desires to be worshiped by the world, even Herod's world is cracked open by the birth of Jesus in Bethlehem. These visitors that arrive today from the east, they come from places maybe known, but still unfamiliar to Herod. Parts of the world that are beyond Rome's control. Parts of the world that do not bend and cower at Herod's every whim. These visitors from the east do not know King Herod, but they know the Prince of Peace born in Bethlehem. So the Magi have heard the good news, and the reality of this news, the glorious impossible of it, shakes Herod to his very core. The world, it seems, is larger than Rome. And a baby, this baby, born in Judea, holds the whole world in his hands and draws the whole world to himself. Herod's world is cracked open in spite of himself, along with all of the world's powers and principalities, part of the unfolding mystery of Christmas. And now turning back to the Magi, these latecomers on the Christmas scene, remember that their travels took some time. We celebrate the 12 days of Christmas because we recognize that this news, the news of God coming to be with us, deserves more than one night or one day. And yet, it also condenses the story because the Magi travel for some time, years even. So as the Magi arrive in Jerusalem and then in Bethlehem, Jesus is no longer a newborn, but probably a toddler. And so I love that imaginative look at this scene that we have up here, not of the gold, frankincense, and myrrh lying beside a sleeping infant, but of toddler Jesus toddling around. Maybe Mary having to quickly whisk the gifts out of his reach so that he doesn't try and eat the frankincense or cover the family animals in a layer of myrrh. They get to see Jesus in those early times. The gift not only of a sleeping infant God with us, but of God toddling around and learning with us. The Magi had an arduous and long journey. They had to be committed and persistent. They had to remind themselves along the way of why they were following the star in the first place. And there's a pretty good chance that others they met on their journey found the Magi to be not wise, but foolish. A fool's errand. To follow the light of a star for some number of years to an unknown land and an unknown people. And for the Magi, it may have felt that the star was guiding them to the end of their journey, that when they arrived where the star was, that would be it. That if they could only reach the child, they would kneel and pay him honor and respect, and then they would go back to their lives. They'd go back home, having achieved what they set out to do. But the mystery of Christmas continues to unfold. And as the Magi kneel in Bethlehem, they know that home is now larger for them. Home is now centered in this living room of all of creation, this ordinary and unexpected dwelling where the animals feed and sleep. This is where heaven comes home to earth. This is where the true light shines. Good news of great joy for all the people and all of creation. So once they have come, once they have paid homage, the Magi know that the path that took them here is not the one that will lead them to what comes next. And not only to protect the child from Herod's jealousies. For having followed the light, for having witnessed the true light, paths are illuminated for the Magi that were not there before. Paths home that had not been there before because of the birth of the true light into the world. So as we come to the culmination of this Christmas season, we will celebrate the light. We will feast on it. The light that has come into the world and the light that will show us the way home. The way to care for all people and all of creation, and to do that the way that God does. To love and care for ourselves the way that God does. The light and the path where God will turn our mourning into joy and give us gladness for sorrow and comfort us. Paths home that had not been there before. The hope to which God calls us. The Prince of Peace has the whole world in his hands. And today, with the Magi and the shepherds and all of creation, we feast on the light.